welcome to the stage, Daniel Connell. Thank you. Thank you very much. Here we are. Oh, lovely. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's great. What a lovely welcome. Thank you so much, everybody. It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for coming out to Newham for the night. Much appreciated. It's great to see you all packed in like sardines. Beautiful stuff. Could have been anywhere else in the world tonight, but you chose to be here. So much appreciated. Could have been in Bali or Italy or Portugal, but you chose here. So much appreciated. Do appreciate that. And people watching at home as well, you could have watched anything else tonight as well, so I do appreciate that. You could have watched maths or Blue Healers or something, so I do appreciate you coming out. No, it is nice. It is nice to be out, isn't it? It's nice to be doing stuff. We're at an interesting point at the moment, aren't we? Like we're on the backside of pandemics and whatnot, and we're sort of at a good position at the moment. I reckon we're currently at like my favourite phase of the pandemic so far, right now, and that is the turning a blind eye phase. That's where we're at the moment, isn't it? It's nice, isn't it? It's nice. We can do stuff again. We can pack into rooms like this, like absolute sardines. No, it is nice. Times have changed. It's changed a lot. Last year we couldn't do this, couldn't film this last year. We had to sign all these waivers, wear masks. It's all changed now. Much looser now, which is nice. So loose, I reckon if I said right now, let's have an orgy, I reckon half of you would be like, yeah, fuck, let's get stuck into it. Let's do it. Hey, it's been a quiet couple of years. I'll put my mask on unless I've got to suck something, but let's get stuck into it. You look quite excited about the orgy then, is it? Up and about? Yeah, that got you up to good stuff. All right, no worries. No, good stuff. It is nice to be out doing stuff. What's your name down the front here? Zara. Thanks for coming, Zara. Excellent. What, are you from Melbourne? Yeah? Via UK. Yeah. Got an accent. I picked it up, the accent, yeah. How long have you been in Australia for? 14 years in 5 days. Thanks for being so specific. Because if you had said 13 years, I went, how close are you to 14 years? But you're 5 or 6 days because, that you can basically say 14 years now, I reckon. You could say that to people. You do what you want, but I'd say 14 years personally. No, good on you, Zara. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for sitting up the front. I'm not too close there. Is that nice? Not hurting your neck too much down the front? Good stuff. You've been living your life, Zara, lately? You've been doing stuff back to normal? Yeah, going to the pub, all that sort of stuff? Same. Good stuff. I've been getting out. I've been getting out the pub, guys. I'm sure you look at me and think he definitely goes to the pub, this guy. I've been living my life pretty normally. I had an incident though, because we're back out, we're doing stuff again. I had an incident at a pub a few weeks ago. It's a Friday night, right? It's about 11 o'clock. I've come out of this pub at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and I saw something we all love to see at 11 o'clock on a Friday night when you come out of a pub, and that was a drunk guy with his shirt off trying to fight people. I thought, welcome back, Melbourne. It's great to be back. It's great to be doing stuff again, living our lives. This guy's got his shirt off, tied around his head. That's pretty standard stuff for drunk people. Probably done that, Zara, at some point in your life. Very standard behaviour. It's tied around his head. You've all done. Some of you may do it after the show tonight. It's standard drunk behaviour. Then he's done something I've never seen before. I've never seen this before. He's made himself a fight square using 4 Coke bottles. Anybody else seen that before? So 4 750ml unopened Coke bottles. He made a fight square, 2 metres by 2 metres apart. He stood in the square. If you try to get around his square, he'd try to coax you in for a fight. You met that guy before in the city of Melbourne? Check him out if you ever go there. So if you try to get around him, he'd start shaping up going, oh, come on, where you going, mate? Come on, step in the ring, fight the king. Where you going, mate? Step in the ring, fight the king, fight the king. I watched him for about 30 seconds. I thought, that's why I got vaccinated. Yeah. Hey, that's why I did my bit, so I could see loved ones again and so the king could step back in the ring. Well, it was a beautiful moment for everyone involved. I had to get past the king because I was going for a nice meal nearby, a nice restaurant down the road, and I went to get around the king and he's at me. He's like, oh, come on, mate, where you going? Come on, step in the ring, fight the king. I was like, sorry, my liege, I need to get past. Going for a nice meal down there. And he's like, yeah, lucky. If you had stepped in the ring, you would have woken up dead, you dog. It's quite aggressive, isn't it, from a king? Didn't have the heart to tell him, you can't wake up dead, mate. You should know that. It was royalty. But anyway, I went and got my kebab and I came back, right? And I stood across the road for about 20 minutes watching the king. He's ducking, he's diving, he's throwing uppercuts, no one's stepping in. He wasn't selling it that well. Then I finished my kebab, licking my fingers as I see two people step in the ring at the same time. Yeah, they stepped in the ring and tasered the king, which was it's a nice way to finish this Friday night, watching someone get sparked up on the city. It's good to be out. It's good to be out. It's good to be flying again. People are travelling again. Give us a whoop if you've been overseas already since we've been back to normal. Okay, 7 people. Good stuff. You haven't been home, Zara?
Yes.
You have been home once, have you? Yes. Back to London?
North,
Liverpool. I had a go at it. We'll cut that bit out. But anyway, edit that bit out. No, it's been nice to see people travelling and doing stuff again. I've been out the airport a bit of late, actually. I haven't been going anywhere, just been watching people return. It's been nice. It's good just to feel something, which I've jumped on a few family huddles just to feel something. Anything. I had a moment ruined, though. I was in the terminal and I'm watching this guy. He's about mid-30s, I reckon. He's racing across the terminal. I see his parents on the other side. They're about 70. And he gets up to his mum. Both got their masks on. This will make you spew in your mouth. Ready? What happens next? Mum and son both pull their masks down. Big kiss on the lips. Big. I thought that's fucked that moment, isn't it? That is disgusting. Don't know if there's anyone here from the government tonight, but we get a bill passed ASAP that stops kids kissing their parents on the lips after the age of 15, please. Hey, 0 to 15, go for your life. But after that, jail time, in my opinion. Cut it out. It's gross. I'm happy to put forward my strategy when it comes to kissing my mum. I've used this in my entire life. You can have this, the government can have it, and that is 0 to 15, I was on mum's lips. Bang, 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 right there. Like a good boy. And then every 5 years after that, I've moved around her head, basically. It's straightforward, isn't it? So 0 to 15, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on and so forth, as I circumnavigate mum's scone. Now, so I'm sort of 35 to 40 age bracket at the moment, so I'm just behind mum's ear on that right side at the moment. That's where I'm up to, so she loves it. Dad hates it, obviously, but I know you're sitting there thinking, hang on, Daniel, there's a flaw to your little technique there, because if you keep going around the circumference of your mum's head, you're going to eventually come back to her sweet lips, and you are correct. But I worked it out, I'll be 60 to 65 by the time I get back there, so mum should be dead by then. Fingers crossed anyway. If she's not, she's going to wish she was, I reckon, so I'm going to really go for it. I'm going to really suck that inheritance right out of her, I reckon. Give us the Mazda, Mum. That's all I want, the Mazda 6. No, it is good to be out doing stuff again. Have you had moments, Zara, since you've been out of lockdown that you wish you were back in? Have you had any incidents like that? Been to a shit party or anything like that?
Yeah, sister's wedding.
Sister's wedding? You wish you were back in? Good. You wish you were back in for that one. What? You never got along with your sister? Or you just don't like her new husband? Or... No, I said something you'd wished you were back in lockdown for. Too late, Zara. We got that on tape, so that's staying in. That's definitely staying in. Going to send that over to the UK. No, good stuff. You're just throwing yourself in it. I've wished I was back in a couple of times. A couple of things have happened in my life. I wished I was back in lockdown. I had a party to go to. Friends of mine are expecting a child, so they had a gender reveal party for their upcoming child. Well, unbelievable. Just send me a text when the baby's born. That's all I need to know. I don't need to... they decided to ruin a Sunday for 20 of their closest friends. And I was in that 20. Ridiculous. Just send me a text, for God's sake. We get over their house, and there was the only saving grace. It took me an hour and a half one way, 3-hour round trip to watch them pop a balloon on a Sunday, essentially. That's what I did. If I was 5 years old, fuck yeah, I'd travel across town to watch a balloon get popped. In my 30s, I don't want to see that shit anymore. I get over there. The only saving grace is the way they did the reveal. You may have seen reveals online before. Check out Gender Reveal Fails on YouTube. That's a good time. So my mate's a builder. He's fashioned a huge balloon in the back of his backyard. Big purple balloon, beautiful stuff, all rigged up. He's then fashioned his nail gun to fire a nail through the balloon, and a pink or blue mist would burst out of the balloon. Then a red mist would burst out of the skull of whoever the nail that hit. on its trajectory across the party. One life ends, another one begins. It's a beautiful moment. Just lovely stuff. So I'm amped because I've seen my mate have about 8 or 9 bourbon and coke cans before he's even picked up the nail gun. I got speed dial, triple O ready to go because something bad's going to go down. But credit where credit's due, he fired it. No, he did very well. He shot it straight through. A pink mist burst out of the balloon. Everybody oohed and ahed, and I was in the car before the mist hit the ground, right? But why bring this up, Newham, Saturday night? That was the start of the year. That couple, a few months ago, that couple has since had a divorce. Yeah, it's a bit of white hot goss for you, isn't it, on a Saturday night? Beautiful. They've had a divorce. I found out about the divorce via text message, which was it's quite frustrating. Would have much rather attend a divorce reveal party, hey? Fuck, can we get those going, please? Oh, my God. I would lose a Sunday for a divorce reveal party. What a great way to spend a Sunday, eh? Get over to their house, get to their house for a barbecue. You're like, why are we going to their house for a barbecue, these two? Aren't they on the rocks? And you get there and there's 10 black balloons lined up. You're like, fuck, it's a divorce reveal party. We're on here. They get the nail gun, 10 bullets in the nail gun, 5 each. They get 5 shots. If a pink mist bursts out, she gets custody of the kid. Keys to the house fall out, she gets the house. Great way to spend a Sunday, in my opinion. A lot of divorcees in the crowd tonight, that's all right. It does struck a nerve. Had another party I wish I was in lockdown for. A friend of mine, he's got a 7-year-old daughter. I'm actually her godfather. Pretty cool. I got asked to be her godfather. A bit of an honour. I'd never been a godfather before, but they asked me and I said yes, of course. Originally when I said no, it wasn't that well received, but... I'm a godfather. She had her 7th birthday party and I wish I was in lockdown for that because they had it at a horse riding camp. Bit of a horse ride, day horse ride, 2-hour horse ride for kiddies out in the Gippsland area of Victoria. So I went out there. I said, of course I'll go. I'm the godfather. I better get out there. And I get out there and I tell you what, kids' parties have changed a little bit, haven't they? Remember it used to just be pin the tail on the donkey in someone's backyard. Now the tail's on and we're riding the fucking things. Ridiculous. Just have a little fucking party. Anyway, another 2-hour round trip out to that area. And I get out there and we all lined up. All the kids get lined up. There's about 7 or 8 of her friends, little 7-year-old girls, a few parents and then the godfather, right? They lined us up and I notice there's about 14 of us and only 13 horses. They bring the horses out, 13, not enough to go around. Godfather's going to miss out. So I'm standing at the back. I said, it's fine. I'll just do some work in the car, whatever. You're only going for 2 hours. I'll wait for the party till you come back, And Max and Troy, father-son duo, organising the day. Max, the father, turns to Troy and goes, "Oh, mate, just go get Bruce for us, will you?" Troy goes, "All right." Didn't like that at all. I wanted him to say, "Yeah, I'll go get Bruce. Fantastic horse." Not, all right. I'm sceptical now. Troy fucks off to get Bruce. I say to Max, What's Bruce's story, mate? Is he all right? He goes, "Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. 90% of the time he's fine." I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, 10% of the time he just does his own thing. I was like, what does that mean? Can you elaborate, please? Is he popping down the shops during work hours? Like, what's his own thing? Is he, having bourbons when everybody else is on the beers? What do you mean? He said it's fine. Don't worry about it. I was like, I'm not fine. Troy brings Bruce back around the corner. You got to remember, everybody's waiting for me. They're all in line, ready to go on this track. Bruce comes around and I see Bruce, beautiful horse, dark brown, lovely looking horse, very exciting times. He's up on his toes. I think he actually looks pretty cool. But if any of you have ever been around horses before, you will notice, they can look quite calm, cool, collected. You can have the most angelic horse just standing there looking lovely in the distance, but in its head it's thinking, I'm going to fucking kill someone today. I think I'll kick someone in the head. Let's kick someone in the head. So I've got that in the back of my head. They pull him up alongside me, little step ladder there for me to get on Bruce, and I get up to the 3rd step. Before I throw my leg over, I said to Troy, what do you call him Bruce for? Where's that come from? And he said, Batman, Bruce Wayne. Yeah, he's batshit crazy. Great, awesome. Yeah, sweet. Well, I'll just throw my leg over this 500-kilo psychopath and we'll be off then. Let's just go. So I lower myself into the saddle. I don't know if you got on a horse before, but I lowered myself in, and I remember an old jockey friend telling me that horses can feel your nerves in the loins. They can feel the vibrations, and that makes them nervous. If they could feel my vibrations, they must have thought like a bag of 100 dildos got on their back that day, because I was having a real little shake on the back of this horse. So So we ease in, and it's only just a walk as well, by the way. So we're not running it. So I'm sort of trying to just keep my mind at ease. Off we go. We're in single file, off on the track, 2-hour trip, just around this big circuit and back. Little girl, so it's nothing crazy. So walk along with Bruce. We're probably like 400 metres into the 2-kilometre track when Bruce has his first moment of the day. A horse up ahead stood on a stick. There was a bit of rustling. A couple of horses kind of walked, ears pricked. Max and Troy, woo, 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 everybody calmed down. The horses went back into line. Bruce, his ears just prick up. You may have seen horses do this before. He just started doing the steps of the nut bush, basically. You may have seen him. He just started going. No. Oh, like that. Oh. And then we just rejoin the line. Just rejoin the line as if nothing happened. No one else saw it. This is a psychopathic horse. It was just so unnerving. I was like, what a weird, this is a nutbag. This is a proper crazy horse. He knew that no one else was watching. Like, he knew, I'll just mess with this kid. Like, I'll just mess with him. So we keep going. We stop for lunch, have a bit of pass the parcel. I went a bit of whiz fizz, which I was quite rapt about. And save that in the pocket for later. We get back on the horses. We've got like a kilometre to go. And I'm thinking, you know what, 10% of the time he does his own thing. That was it. He did his own thing before. We're sweet. Kilometre to go. 600 metres, 700 metres. I can see my car in the distance. We're almost home. Then for some reason, it was like, I don't know, Hunger Games style. Someone just dropped 40 kangaroos into our scenario just to fuck us around. I didn't see one kangaroo the rest of the day. Now there's 40 just bouncing across the path. Every horse is like, fuck, I hate kangaroos. I hate them. They're all just everywhere. Nut bushes going off, all through the line. Horses are darting off. Girls are screaming. Troy and Max have got their hands full. Woo, they're grabbing reins, trying to line everyone up again. The 5th horse in line rears onto its back 2 feet. Luckily, a dad on board just slides down and just sort of lands on his feet, and the horse goes back on all fours. And then we all just went, oh, that was good. Well, nice. Nailed it. Like, that was actually pretty cool. We all get settled back into our line, and Bruce, an absolute gentleman the whole time. We all settled back into line, a couple of 100 metres to go. Then Bruce thinks, hang on, that's right, sorry, I'm the fucking psychopath here. I forgot. Him and I turn and just start bolting down a separate path. Out of control. About 40, 50 k's an hour. Now, on a path, I don't know where we're off to. I got told, Bruce takes off, just say, "Wol Bruce," and he'll pull up. I said "Wol Bruce" 50 times, I reckon, in 20 seconds, I reckon. I don't know, I don't think he speaks English because he wasn't stopping. I don't know if he had his headphones in, but he just was in another planet. Now, we're running through low-hanging branches. I just thought I'll just tuck down and just hope I survive. Branches are like whipping past my head. My groin was taking a beating. I don't know if you've ever been out of control on a horse before, but my groin was just And we come through to a clearing, and I sort of look up around his head, and I can just see the huge fence that goes around the property. I thought, well, surely he's not going to try and jump that. That's like 2.5 metres high. We get to it, he pulls up, full cartoon stop, all his hooves into the ground, stops. I just swan dive out of the side. Couldn't wait to get off him. Hit the deck. It did quite hurt my shoulder, but I was just happy to be off him, to be honest. I sit there for about 5 minutes just rubbing my shoulder. He's off just doing his own thing again, having a pick in the grass like nothing happened. The rest of the crew come down through the clearing, all in single file, still the girls just, having a great time. They get right up to me, and little Stephanie, one of my the friends, just goes, "Hey, can you stop messing around, please?" God. It's like, if you had told me that morning that I'd tell a 7-year-old girl to go fuck off, I would not have believed you. Then cherry on top, Max, the father, he comes out, he gets off his horse, he's got that classic horse rider's walk, walks out, just hovers over me, and he goes, "Come on, mate, you know what they say, when you come off, you just got to get back on, don't you? Just get back on the horse, mate. That's what you got to do, just get back on. That's what they say." He said, you know what else they say, Max? "I want a refund, arsehole." No longer a godfather, obviously. Had that reign taken off me. One other thing I wished I was in lockdown for. It was great, obviously, stand-up's back again. We're performing again. It's lovely to be in a packed room. But I have had a moment. By all means, come and say g'day afterwards. But I had a moment at a show earlier this year where I wished I was back in lockdown. I met a throuple for the first time ever. That's the right reaction. After a show. It was, if you don't know what that is, it's two people in a relationship with three people in a relationship trying to make that work. This setup was a guy, he was probably mid to late 30s, and two ladies, probably similar age, mid to late 30s, and they came up and just started chatting and mentioned it straight away. I thought you keep that shit on the down low, but they were quite open to talk about them being in a throuple. I didn't know what to say. I was just sort of just taken aback, just like, fuck, I thought you keep that on the down low, and I just didn't know. I just didn't know what to say. Like, I had so many thoughts going through my head. Throuple, like, I'm in a relationship with one person, my wife. It's tough. I don't know how you making that work? An extra person in a relationship? Like, I had so many thoughts going through my head. Like, what's the front seat situation in a throuple? Like, what's going on there with the car? Like, you rock scissors paper and all the time you go to the car. You got a 3-seater at the front. Like, what's going on with the car? What's the doona situation in a throuple? Like, I get fuck all doona as it is in a relationship with my wife. You got special throuple doonas. Like, I'd actually like to get my hands on one of those because that'd be quite nice, a throuple doona, wouldn't it? You just sew on two normal doonas together. Like, what's going on there? I had so many questions to ask them, but I didn't really want to talk to them. Who would? But they mentioned straight away that they're big fans of my stand-up, so I can't afford to lose one fan, let alone a throuple. So we had a nice chat. Quite close now, actually. I'll just need to sort of stay on the topic of slippery reptiles for the time being with the show, just while we're on it. I had the pleasure of doing this at the start of the year. I had the pleasure of calling a snake catcher. I want to tell you about this. This was quite a fun day in my life. Out of lockdown, living life again, snake catcher. I was out at the in-laws' house and the mother-in-law was mucking up a bit. No, she was a lovely lady. So I'd tell her I said that. She's got heaps of cash. We had a brown snake out at the in-laws' house, and I've been around brown snakes before. This was a monster. I thought better get a snake catcher out. And the snake catcher gets to the front gate, and I'm not filled with confidence because it's this baby-faced kid called Kyle. They're just about 20 years old. I was like, what? I don't want Kyle catching a snake for me, this baby-face. I want some weathered old man or woman named Pam or Warren, like grizzled features, like missing teeth, like khaki hat, pending assault charges. I don't want Kyle catching a snake for me. He gets to the gate, he's all up and about. He's got a snake too. I was like, fucking yes, Kyle. I didn't call you around to fucking have a barbecue, mate. Just come through. And I thought I'd make small talk with him. I was like, how long you been a snake catcher for, Kyle? And he goes, 4 months. So what the fuck are you doing here, mate? 4 months? You should be on blue tongue duty, mate. Not out here catching a brown snake on my watch. Walk through and you almost get to the pile. And he's like, what sort of snake is it? I said, it's a brown snake, mate. I told the lady on the phone, and he stops in his track. He's like, brown snake? Brown? I was like, yeah, what's the issue, mate? He goes, I better call my boss. I said, that's the best thing you've said today, mate. That's good stuff. He goes off to call the boss. I look down at the snake. He looks up to me as if to say, this fuckhead's got no chance of catching me. I was like, I agree, Brownie. Cole comes back. He's like, my boss is on the way. I was like, good stuff, mate. Second best thing you've said today. We sit down and have some lunch. Turns out I didn't invite him around for a barbecue after all. Finish our sausage on bread, and then I hear a ring at the front gate, and I'm quite pumped about that. And I look out there and I see the silhouette of a guy at the front gate, and I'm like, oh yeah, looks like an older man. I get out there, portly gentleman, but in his 60s definitely. He's got a name tag that says Roy. Roy's missing a tooth, like long grey hair, cowboy hat, khaki shirt, shark tooth around the neck. I thought, this snake's fucked, right? This is the end of the snake's life. This is exactly what we wanted. I walk him through the wood pile, and he doesn't say much, just puts his cigarette, still lit, up on top of the wood pile, just sits it up there like that. Absolute boss move. Leans down, picks the snake up straight away by the tail. It sort of coils out to a straight line. He puts his hessian bag underneath, lowers it down. As the snake's going in, it's like, it's Roy. I'm fucked. I can't do anything about it. I'll just take this on the chin, I guess. He sort of twizzles the bag up over his shoulder and out they go. To the car, I follow, because they say don't make you heroes, but I did that day and I was right into it. Loved him. We get out of the car, I'm not filled with confidence and not happy about it because there's a little work tiff between Kyle and Roy. Roy's been called out on Kyle's time. It's not happy. Awkward stuff, ruined my afternoon and ruined that little time I wanted to have looking at the snakes in the boxes in there. Quite awkward stuff. Not nearly as awkward as about an hour later when I told my wife we're now in a throuple with Roy. It's like, get into it, Dale. He can help with the mortgage. He's got his own business. He can handle snakes, which is always handy. Don't know what that means. Never said that before, but there you go. Live TV. You got a mortgage, Zara? In Australia? Are you allowed to do that? You're a citizen, obviously. Are you a citizen?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Where are you living? What part of Melbourne? What part?
Yeah,
In the city.
near Flagstaff.
Living in the city near this train station. Someone's kicking goals. Good work. God, very good stuff. Apartment or how many bedroom? Two? Yeah, nice. Excellent stuff. That's great. Oh, awesome stuff. My wife and I, we used the sort of last couple of years with our time to look for something. Ideally, we'd like a townhouse, like 3-bedroom, within sort of half an hour of the Melbourne CBD. That's what we're after. And they can go from anywhere from 900,000 to 1.5 mil. So we spoke to a guy during lockdown and he said, just keep saving how you're saving and you should be able to buy somewhere circa 2097, which is, it'll be nice. I'll be 113, but I'll be able to enjoy my own house, just downstairs. Obviously, won't be able to get upstairs. But gentleman we spoke to, finance guy, said you got to find a mentor. Did you find a mentor when you got into the property market? Kinda. Who was that?
Just a friend's broker.
Friend's broker. That was your mentor as well. Yeah. A broker mentor. Good stuff. Did you get any inheritance for you? Oh, all right. Kicking goals. Good stuff. He said, find a mentor, right? And you just follow what that mentor has done. You don't have to know the person, just someone with a great property portfolio. You follow what they've done through their career and just that's how they built their wealth. You try and do the same thing. So I chose as my mentor, Jesus Christ. Yeah, say what you will about JC, but he's got a fucking great property portfolio. You can't take that away from him. Like all that land, all those churches all around the world. Like, that's good stuff. He's got a big book about it. It's a great read. I went to Catholic school as a little kid, so I know all about his property portfolio. A lot of people don't realise little facts about him, JC, with his property portfolio. There's a famous photo of him, also a statue, where he's got his hair out of a bun. He's just kind of standing there. A lot of people have it in their house where he's looking quite angelic, just sort of looking straight ahead. People don't realise if you flip that shot around, he's actually looking at a vacant block of land there. He's just like, it's like we'll put some churches up there, stripper poles up the back there. Plus, he's a carpenter, so he's knocking things down, he's fixing them up. He's the original block contestant when you think about it. It's good stuff. I thought I was going to get some inheritance. That's my wife and I's only hope now, inheritance from our parents and her parents. I don't want it to happen anytime soon, but I'm not counting my chickens before they die, but that's kind of where we're looking. Down the track, inheritance. I thought I was going to get some at the start of the year, some inheritance. I got all excited. My old Aunt Edith passed away, 97 years of age, my dad's auntie. Nervous 90s, couldn't get to the ton, unfortunately. Got into the 90s, just started playing some silly shots. I thought she's going to get out in the 90s here, and Michael Slater this, and sure enough, she's nicked one through to the keeper and she's no longer with us. But didn't get any inheritance off her, but to be fair, I only sucked up to her sort of the last couple of years of her life. I had family members that really sucked up for a good 20 years. They got all the good stuff. I actually did get asked. I had the honour of being a pallbearer at her funeral. I got asked to carry her coffin out, which was an honour. Never done that before, never been a pallbearer, never carried a coffin. Carried lots of dead bodies, but never a body in a coffin per se. You couldn't get over how organised this lady was for her own funeral. She'd planned it all out. Unbelievable. She'd even had organised like the colour of the tablecloths at her wake. That's how organised she was. We didn't use her colour. It was quite ugly, but I'm just saying she was super organised. She told me where to stand as said pallbearer. I was up on the head end. There was 6 of us. I was on the left-hand side on the head end. And my cousin and I, we had a bit of a chuckle because we're both the same height, quite tall. And as you went down the 2x2, we got shorter. So if she was in our hands or on our shoulders, she was on quite a lean, like that. So basically, if her wish was to leave the church like an Olympic luger, she fucking got her wish well and truly. She was just flying out. Hold on. My dad was there. It was his auntie, so it was his day to organise the whole thing. Dad was organising it. I probably should point out before I talk a bit more about my dad, he has asked me to stop talking about him on stage. So I'm actually under a bit of lock and key there at the moment with that. I can't talk about him anymore. He saw a show last year. He was like, "Dan, nah, that's it. Stop talking about me. You make me sound like an idiot. You over-exaggerate everything. I've had enough." And I thought, that is something the world's biggest idiot would say, mate. But I'll stop. I said, I'll stop. I'll stop when you're at the show. When you're not there, just don't worry about it, mate. And he'll never see this, obviously. He just does himself no favours. He's too easy to make fun of. Like, we're at the church, right? His day, he's got 50 roses because it's COVID times. We could only have 50 people in the church. He's got a big bunch of roses in his arms. He's at the back of the church giving them out to go on the coffin. I see him. My mum's there. My wife's there. My sister's there. So I have a bit of fun here with him. I walk over and I go, "Oh, here he is, the next bachelor." I'm just fucking around. Just fucking around with him. Just mucking around. Here he is. He's got roses. You haven't seen The Bachelor before. The Bachelor hands out root roses to the people they want to root, basically. It's like, here's your root rose. I'll root you later. All right, have a sniff. And so he's got his root roses, and I just say that. And Mum's chuckling, my sisters are they're like, "Don't make us laugh in the church. It's silly. Don't make us laugh. Shh, shh, shh." And my dad, as loud as he can say, just goes, "Oh, fuck up, mate." The priest, like, faints to the ground. Doves fly out of the roof. It's just too good. Too easy. You get into The Bachelor? Zara, you get into that, wouldn't you? Nah, don't get into it. You get into The Bachelor? You love The Bachelor. Yeah, you said it under sufferance, but you said it. I love The Bachelor. Yeah, well, I watched some episodes in lockdown. That's how desperate TV got for me the last couple of years. I saw 3 episodes. One thing got right under my skin that I want to share with you tonight. This annoyed me. It'll annoy anyone who's ever been in a relationship before. There was a guy looking for a wife. Really sappy shit. I really didn't like that show. But he said this. He goes, I want the wife I find on this show to be the last thing I think about before I go to sleep at night and the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. It's like, what a cockhead, hey? What a moron. I think this guy's an idiot. Like, has he ever been in a relationship before, this guy? I don't think he has. Those lovey-dovey thoughts last, 48 hours in any relationship? I've been married to my wife for 2 years. I love her, but she's not in the top 5 things I think about before I go to sleep at night. Hey? I think the bin's out. The back door's locked. Did I delete the history on the laptop? What's on for tomorrow? On second thoughts, I better double check the laptop. Right, they're my 5 thoughts. Same thing in the morning. She's not in the top 5. I'm sorry, got to get the bin's in. Got to unlock the back door. What's the wife up to today? When's she going out? Fire up the laptop. Said to my wife, just so you know, I'm talking about you on stage. For research purposes, what was the last thing you thought about before we went to sleep last night? And she said, I hope he doesn't want to have sex. That's nice, isn't it? So all the back doors are locked, unfortunately. So what about this morning? She said, same thing. I was like, all right. Lunchtime it is. Lunchtime. It wasn't lunchtime. She went out for lunch. Fired up the laptop. We're just about to leave the church to get Edith out of there. And I had my nephew come up to me. Worst timing, but he did tell me something cool. He's about 15, my nephew. He comes and tugs on my shirt. We're about to leave the church. He said, Uncle Dan, I've got to tell you something. I just want to get this off my chest. I'm going to forget it if I don't tell you now, which is why I remember it. Something you can talk about on stage. Normally when a family member says that, 0% hit rate, never translates to stage, ever. But he finally told me something I couldn't believe. He goes to a Catholic boys' school in Canberra, 15 years old. He was in sex ed class when his teacher, a teacher paid to teach our next generation, told him and the other boys this. She said, boys, just so you know, before you leave today, when you're having sex with someone out there, you're having sex with every person that person ever had sex with. Okay? Have a good day. Were you aware of that? I wasn't aware of that. That's a fact. Been taught by our teachers, so I didn't know that. That gets you crunching numbers, doesn't it, in your head? I crunch it. Here's a number, just to add to the crunching you're doing already, thinking about all the sexual partners you've had. The average human sleeps with 7.2 people in their lifetime. So going off that teacher's, fact, if your number was 10, you times that by 7.2, it's now 72. So overnight you become a bit of a horn dog, basically. I don't know. I I can feel it in the room. You're all crunching your numbers. I feel that, oh, God, that's a lot, crunching that number in your head. When I heard this, I was like, God, some people are going to be rattled by this fact, aren't they? Going to be rattled by it. Different people around the world. I couldn't help but think about really homophobic blokes. They're going to be rattled, aren't they, by this? Those blokes that love telling you how many women they've slept with, they're going to hate this. They're going to, those blokes are like, I fucked like 200 chicks in my life. Now you can be like, have you, mate? We've also fucked 1,400 blokes, mate, so maybe... Yeah. Maybe just ease up on the I hate poofters chat, because I don't think you do, mate, all right? Just... Now, before I go on, I thought, I can see I've made it awkward by telling you these numbers and you're crunching them. I thought I'd tell you my number just to make you feel at ease, but I won't tell you whether I've multiplied it or not, okay? So, so my number is 14. Okay, so cheers. 0.4, I probably should put that out. Just my wife twice, basically. So it's time to get Edith out of the church. Go time, right? We're going to get her up in the coffin, up on the shoulder, and we hoik her up onto our shoulders. And I couldn't get over how heavy it was. As I said, I never picked up a coffin before. I don't know if it was the emotion of the day, but she was a little lady. She would have been 65 kilos, ring and wet, I reckon, old Edith. When she was kicking, she was a little lady, but this felt like 200 kilos. I don't know if it was the emotion, as I say, but we hoik her up and we start walking, walking around to the church. We get to the stairs. There's 15 stairs down to the hearse waiting at the bottom of the stairs. And we get to the stairs. We'll talk about it. Let's go step by step. No fuck-ups here. We don't want to let her slide. And we sort of get down. And now the plan was people had to get to the hearse and form a horseshoe around the hearse, pop our root roses on, and then away we go. Off she goes, covered in root roses. So we get down the stairs, and people are sort of darting past us to get to that spot near the hearse, and should have known better. The priest, he's about 80, on the fourth last step, just darts right across in front of us, really quick, just flies across in front of us, and we stop abruptly, and as we stop, I hear a tumbling sound beside my head. And as I said, I've never been a pallbearer before, but I think silence is what you want to hear at all times, coming from said coffin. Not tumbling of any kind. I'd accept help, I'm alive. I'd take that, sure. Absolutely. I'll let you out, but no tumbling sound. So I just hear like a doo, 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 doo. So it starts off loud and then gets quieter as it goes towards her tooties. Boom, 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 boom. We get on the flat. I've got a mask on because it's COVID times, and I don't think my eyes have ever been wider in my life. What the fuck was that? What was that? I think the priest sees my eyes are full owl mode, and he's concerned. He goes, "You all right, Daniel? Everything all right, mate?" I was like, "Yeah, priest, all right, mate. No dramas like that." Yes, I lied to a priest. I lied to his face. I lied to his face. But I didn't think there and then, with the crowd around, was the perfect time to suggest that perhaps her head had come off. Yes, I thought head. I'm up the head end. It's round, it's tumbly. What the fuck else could it be at this point? Her head's come off on my watch. I am obviously beside myself. I don't know if you had a head come off on your watch before, but it's rattling. It is quite a rattling feeling. So we get down the bottom, off she goes. I'm watching the hearse leave, just like she's fucking head's not on there. Like it's a horrible feeling. We go to the cemetery, all that stuff happens. I am a mess. I'm an absolute mess. My wife's out in the car with me. I don't want to. She hates death. I don't want to unload on her. She doesn't need to hear this stuff. My kid's like 2. He's not ready for that yet. I'll wait a year before I unleash this story on him. We get to the after party at the wake we get to the wake. It is after basic, but we get to the wake at the RSL in my hometown, and everybody's there. There's about 50 guests. Everybody's kind of having a great time. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening. Canapes are out. Meals are almost ready to come out. A couple of people having a dance. They've had a couple of drinks already. I have a couple of whiskies to try and ease my nerve, but it's just racing in my head. I don't know what to do. I was like, I've got to get this off my chest. I can't bottle this up. I need to talk about this right now. Like, this is doing my head in. Gets to about 6:30. I think I'll just talk to Dad. It's Dad's day. It's his auntie. I'll talk to him. we'll just, I've had some great chats with him over my life. He's given me some great advice. I'll use him. We'll go to the back of the hall. I walk him up. We go past the stage. Similar to this, we walk up onto the stage behind the curtain at the back, and I call him over. He's had a couple of beers at this point. He's pretty up and about. He's like, Daniel, Edith, she would have been so proud of you today, mate, I reckon. I'll just pump the brakes there for a second, Dad. I've got something to tell you. He's like, what? I was like, look, when we were on the stairs and we stopped abruptly, I heard something. I heard something in the coffin. He's like, what? I heard something. I was like, look, shh. I think something came off Edith. I think something came off her. He's like, what? Off her? What do you mean come off her? I was like, shh. Shh. I think her head came off in the coffin. He loses his mind. He's like, what? Head came off beside himself. Goes all red in the face. He's like, don't tell anyone about this, mate. Don't tell anyone. This is between me and you. Please don't mention this to anyone. This is horrible. I don't know what. Just between me and you, we'll just keep it to ourselves. Don't say anything. He rejoins the party. I told him to calm myself down. I'm now 20 times worse. I'm now way worse. It's like, fuck. I go back to the bar, a couple more shots of whiskey. I'm like, what do I do here? Gets to like 9 o'clock at night. We've had dinner. Everybody's having a great time except me. Everybody's dancing, celebrating her life, having the best time. Gets to about 10 o'clock at night. We've got to be out at 10:30. And Dad gets up. There's about 25 family members left at this point. I'm still a bit of a mess. I've had a few whiskies. Like, what do I do? Then I notice across the bar, the priest has come in for a nightcap, the old priest. I thought, of course. We've got to drop some paperwork off to the priest tomorrow. I'll go and see him. I'll mention it to him. Surely he's seen shit like this happen before. 80 years old, he's done a bunch of these things. Surely things slide around or fall off. People probably drop coffins in his watch before. It'll be fine. We'll break some bread, drink some wine, talk about the portfolio of JC or whatever. Whatever they do up there. With that, I felt a little bit at ease. And then Dad gets up to sort of pull the night up, just to wrap everything up. 25 there, just the younger family members. He's hitting his glass. He's had about 8 or 9 beers at this point. And he gets up and he's like, guys, thanks so much for coming. Hasn't it been a lovely day? Thank you so much for coming and celebrating Edith's life. I talked about how she was a nurse in the war and she made the best scones in our area. Hasn't it been a lovely day celebrating her life? It's just a shame her head came off. I was certain at this point I've fallen asleep. I'm falling asleep on my chair. I've had too many whiskies. Fallen asleep at the back of the room. It's a bad dream. I look at my wife. She's mouth agape, just like looking at me. I'm like, what's going on? I look at everybody in the hall. Just turns around to me, just shocked. It's like, what? What's happening? In a split second, they all burst out laughing. Everybody's slapping their thighs. My wife's like banging the table, pissing herself laughing. Dad's losing it up at the lectern. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What's happening? Dad finishes off. He goes, sorry, as you're all aware, as you all know, sorry, we've got to let him know, but Edith, she loved her elephants, didn't she? She loved going to Sri Lanka to see the elephants. She loved doing those trips, and she always brought home some paintings or drawings, and of course she loved the statues, didn't she? And of course she was buried with her favourite elephant statue today. For 8 hours, I thought my beloved Edith's head had fallen off. All the pallbearers knew about the elephant. My wife knew about the elephant. Mum and Dad knew about the elephant. When I confided in Dad at the back of the RSL, he thought, oh, fuck, he doesn't know about the elephant. He told the 5 or 6 other people that didn't know about it, and they all then thought that I thought her head had fallen off. And they proceeded to pull off the best prank I've ever been involved in, on the end of. I couldn't do anything. I just was humiliated at the back. I just held my whiskey up and went, fuck, well done, Dad. That is very good. Got me very good. Good stitch up. And Dad finished off by going, hey, Daniel, put that in your fucking comedy show. So I did. It was nice to see him have his 15 seconds of fame, I must admit, up there at the lectern. It's just a shame he shit his pants not long after that, wasn't it? Poor old fella. Getting towards the back end of the show now, getting towards the end. I want to tell you a few more things. I'll get out of here. It's been a wild couple of years, as we all know, right around the world. It's been weird. Not saying anything outlandish there. It's been strange, but we're getting back to it. I don't have much to show for the last couple of years. I don't know if any of you do have anything to show, if you learned any new instruments or did anything cool, learn how to cook or anything during lockdown. I didn't do anything fascinating like that. I used my time wisely in one way, the only one way that I'm proud of, and that was I reconnected with old friends. That's one thing I did during lockdown. I thought, I'll call old friends I haven't spoken to 3, 5, 10 years. I'll reconnect with old schoolmates and just have a chat, do one a week. And I thought that'd be a nice way to pass the time. And I've got to reconnect with old friends because I don't make new friends anymore. I don't know if any of you are at that point of your life where you don't make new friends anymore. Jeez, it's nice. If you're not off the new friends market, give it a go. It is a lovely time to be alive. I've got my old school friends, workmates, some comedy mates. That's it. I'm done. Don't need any more friends. It's nice. So I can go to a party now that an actual mate will hold a party, and he'll have some of his outside our circle shitmates there. And one of them will come up and be like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'll be like, I do stand-up comedy. He'll be like, oh, yeah, I've got a joke for you. Now I can be like, do you, asshole? Because I don't care. You can tell it to my back as I walk away, mate. I don't care anymore. My wife tries to hook me up with fathers from the mothers group. Our son goes to daycare. There's mothers there. My wife's friends with them. Tries to hook me up with the fathers from the mothers group. You'll like Michael. You'll love him. He's the same age as you, loves his sport, lives in Melbourne. You should catch up with Michael. I'm like, no, thanks. She's like, what? What? Michael? He's the same age. Cricket, sport, what? What's the matter? I was like, nah, fate would have brought us together by now. It hasn't. Alas. Fuck Michael, I don't want to meet him. And she's like, can't you just do it for me? I'm like, oh, absolutely not. No, I can't. Sorry. Where's the laptop charger, by the way? I reconnected with 2 mates I want to tell you about. Both had interesting last couple of years. One's had an interesting sort of 15 years, but one mate had a rough 2021. He spent 10 months of 2021 in jail. Pretty full-on stuff, isn't it? I never had any other friends go to jail. He was the first one. He went to jail for something I think is the least intimidating thing. For anything I've ever heard someone go to jail for, this is the least intimidating thing. My mate went to jail for having too much of something in his possession. He was caught. Most people think guns, drugs. No. My friend went to jail for 10 months for having too many lobsters in his possession. What an idiot. Too many crustaceans, or lobsters from the ocean. He's a diver, diving on where we're from. He took too many lobsters from the ocean, and Fisheries New South Wales caught him 2 times, big fines. 3rd time, nah, you're done, mate. 10 months in jail, sucked in. Very funny stuff. Because growing up, he was always taking too much from the ocean. Be like, mate, you're going to get caught one day. Be like, I'm never going to get caught. And we tipped him off. No, we didn't tip him off. But he's done. 10 months inside. I remember when he went inside, we had a group chat with the mates that he was in, but obviously he dropped out when he went into jail. But I remember saying to the guys, that's funny. Like, surely he's not going to mention lobsters when he first gets in. Day one, in the pen, like in there with the other inmates, meeting everyone. Surely you're not dropping lobsters at any point in the conversation, like going around, like, what are you in for, mate? Car theft, yeah, sick, mate. What about yourself, mate? Drug dealing, yeah, cool. What about you, mate? Oh, me? Oh, look, no, it's boring. Oh, look, I was down at the beach and my eyes were a bit bigger than my tummy and... Here we are. I caught up with him at Christmas time. I wanted to know all the beef, all the goss, what beefs were happening in there. Because I've seen Shawshank Redemption. I'm sure you've seen that film. I've seen jail movies. I've watched the docos. The shivering. I want to know all the hardcore stuff that was going on in his jail. Unbelievably boring. You cannot get over how boring the worst, 10 months, easy peasy. He said on the month, every month, if they were well behaved, he got rewarded. He got a TV one month, an Xbox the next month, KFC one month. That's my early 20s. That's not fucking jail. What is going on with our jail system? I was like, so nobody got shivved or anything? He's like, nah, no shivvings. I was like, any fights? He's like, oh, a couple over the Xbox controller, that's about it. So that is unbelievable. And then he goes, oh, sorry, there was one guy who got quite violent. I was like, okay, I'm into this. This is good stuff. He said there's one guy got kicked out of a Sydney gang and he became quite violent with the other inmates. They put him away. He sort of had to go to solitary confinement for a little bit, then he'd come back out. And I'm like, all right, this is good goss. What did this guy do? And he goes, yeah, that guy just started giving blowjobs for chocolate bars. Like, what? was like, good on him. Like, I was like, that's weird, like weird goss, but good on him, I guess. I was quite shocked. Like, I didn't know what to say. All I said was, what sort of chocky bars? Like, what? Kit Kats, I guess. That's what I'd be after. I don't know if you've ever thought about going to jail, what you'd be like in jail. It got me thinking after my mate went inside. Have you ever thought about that? Sarah, you ever thought about what you'd be like in jail? Have you ever stayed in Australia for too long? No, never thought about it? No. It got me thinking. I reckon I'd focus on two things if I ever went to jail. I'd focus on I reckon I'd get really fit because they've got the gym there, they've got the weights. I'd just get super buff, I reckon, just come out looking like an absolute meat axe, you know, like a proper beefcake. Second thing I'd focus on would just be stocking up on chocky bars, I reckon. The other mate I want to tell you about, he's had a rough sort of 15 years. Now, what do you do for work, Zara, by the way?
I'm a dentist.
You're a dentist. Okay, that explains the big house in the city, doesn't it? Got great teeth, by the way. Most dentists would, wouldn't they? Yeah, okay. So you own your own, got your own practice? You're just in a practice, no worries. Excellent stuff. I won't ask you how much you make, but good stuff. That's good stuff. Do you have days at work where you hate your job, though?
Yeah.
Surely you would, yeah. Yeah, when someone's just got terrible breath or something. Yeah. Well, I want to tell you about my mate, who I think has got the worst job of anyone I've ever come across in my life. So next time you're having a bad day at work, no matter what you do, just think about my mate, and I reckon it'll cheer you up. For 15 years, my mate has worked at a stud farm in New South Wales. For horses, I probably should point that out. It's just a farm with good-looking blokes walking around. Leather jackets on. Now, he's worked at a stud farm. His job is in the breeding program, so when a male horse comes in, ready to rock and roll, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of horses, the race horses, they come in, the male comes in, ready to rock and roll. My mate's job for 15 years, so you've got to remember these are expensive. The horses are all padded up. They pad them up so they don't harm each other. My mate's job when the horse launches up behind the other one, his job is to get down in the coalface where no one wants to go down there, really, and just, grab the dick of the horse if he has, and make sure it goes in and that everything's successful. 15 years he's been doing that. So next time you're having a bad day at work, just think about my mate trying to line that up. 8 a week they average, he told me. 8 a week. That's 400 a year. 6,000 horse sticks he's grabbed in the last 15 years. That's too many. I would have got to 100 and just quit, I reckon. 6,000 horse sticks. He's rattled by it. He said his own dick feels tiny now as a result. Just feels like nothing. I tried to help him out when I caught up with him. I gave him a bag of Twiggy sticks from the deli. I said, grab a Twiggy stick, then grab your dick, and that should balance things out a bit. But it didn't. So think about him next time you're having a bad day at work. Leave you with this, guys. Thanks very much for coming down. Thanks for watching, if you're watching wherever you are as well. I'll leave you with this. I think one thing I worked out the last couple of years is I worked out what my guilty pleasure is. That was one thing I was happy about with the lockdown. I worked out what my guilty pleasure is. And my guilty pleasure, spending all that time at home, was hearing sirens in the distance. That was my guilty pleasure. Does anybody else get into that? Fuck, I love it. When you hear a siren in the distance and you're in your house, doesn't matter what sort of siren it is, you think it's coming towards you, like, fuck, is that coming close? And then it goes away and you're like, oh, someone's getting hurt further away than I'd hoped. But sometimes a siren comes right into your street. I don't think I get more up and about than when a siren is in my street. I love it. I don't think anything in life gets me more buzzy than a siren in my street. You're like, fuck, is that cops are across the road? You run downstairs, see if you need a hand, because I like to feel important, right? And I ran out there, like, you need a hand, guys? I'll be like, mate, get behind the rope, please get behind. I'm like, no, I'm here if you need, guys, let me know. And so I'll scurry up inside the house and I'll be like, I'll wait to the end. And they're like, mate, please, you've been a nuisance, just go home. I'm like, no, just let me stay, guys, I need this. And they'll go up inside for 20 minutes and then they'll come back down and be like, mate, it's a false alarm, go home, please. I'll be like, no, I'll stay to the end, guys. And they'll start sort of wrapping up the police tape, wicking up their witches' hats, packing and everything up. And one of the officers will come over to see me and she'll have a bit of a conversation. She'll ask to see my phone. I'll give her my phone and then she'll have a bit of a scroll through my phone. Then she'll confiscate my phone and then she'll ask me to come down and answer a few questions at the station. I'll pop down, answer a few questions at the station and then they'll charge me with calling the police just to hear the sirens come close. Get put on a 6-month good behaviour bond. Have to pay a $439 fine, which sucks. Then the fine, I just tell it all as a part of my stand-up, and the fine becomes a tax write-off, which is quite handy. Guys, thanks so much for coming out. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Take it easy. See you later.